Thank you for tuning in into my channel where you find all about art journaling, collage, mixed media, assemblage and anything else that sparks my interest. Hi, my name is Grob and I'm glad you are here. Hey y'all! Welcome, thank you for tuning in again. Now, it's the second take of this video because I messed up. Not the project itself, but the filming part. So I'm gonna start over again just to show you how I make those kind of books. First of all, you need a book with not too many pages. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I want about, in the end, about 7 pages or something like that, not too many, for that idea that I have in mind. So I'm gonna first count the pages. So there are 18 pages, so I'm gonna start by going where it's, by the way, I don't know whether you can see it, but it's a sewn book. That's what I like for altering books. So I'm gonna tear out the first 4 pages. This is a very glossy, slick surface. So the first thing I'm gonna do, before I even gonna glue pages together to make them more sturdy, I'm gonna use my sandpaper. Make me a little bit room. And rough the pages up a little bit. I like to do the gluing part right away to have the things that are necessary but not per se fun over. I'm even gonna do it right away for the covers. That produces a lot of dust, which I'm gonna wipe off. And I'm also gonna wipe it off from the pages and the cover. So my next step is to glue pages together to make them sturdier. And I use a simple glue stick, nothing special. And I make sure that I have glue everywhere, especially along the edges. You could use instead some other glues, but I find the glue stick, because it is a dry medium, it does get less wrinkles in the paper, and yeah, I just find it works better. Now I have a really nice page here. And if there is, like here I have a little tear, it doesn't matter because I glue it together, so no worries about that. So I have glued all my pages together, so I do have like 6 pages, which is what I like. I don't want too many for the idea I have. There are 7 pages. The next step is covering up the thingy going on here, and I use a brush and some gesso And again, I'm not gonna make you watch the whole process. I think you know how it works, so I'm just gonna start with it. And then when I'm done and when it is dry, I will be back. It's probably gonna need several layers anyway. So I have put on 2 layers of gesso, back and front. We are not done yet. You probably have seen the stencil at the beginning of the video. It is a paper stencil, so I also have here on the side some deli paper, because obviously you can't wash those paper stencils after using, so that's why I gonna dab it off onto the deli paper. And how do I want it? I think something like that. And I just want a little bit of texture going on, and I'm gonna use the gesso again. It's not gonna be a very raised texture, but I still hope it's gonna catch on later the areas a little bit when I go in with other paint. We'll see. And I put it rather heavily. I'm not stingy because, as I said, I want texture going on. But obviously I want a patterned texture. If you don't have any stencils, you just could dab on with the gesso without any stencil, just to get a little bit of texture going on. And I'm gonna peek a little bit. Yep. I don't put any gesso here in the crease of the book, because I think that's not very practical to open and close the book. At least I try not to have gesso there, textured gesso. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the back side, but I don't think you need to watch that again. Just making sure that I have something going on everywhere. I think I'm good. Lift it up. And trying to get rid of as much gesso as I can. Put that aside to dry. You sort can see it, like I have the texture now here. So that's what I'm after. I will be back when both sides are done and dry. So it is pretty much dry, the texture on both sides. I don't know whether you can see it. Here we are. And the next step, I'm gonna add washi tape and tissue paper and napkins in certain areas, not everywhere. For that I'm going to use the liquid matte medium, because I want to make sure that the papers follow along the texture I have made, so that's the reason why. And I'm actually thinking, the washi tape, I was especially thinking about the spine. I'm going to start with that. And washi tape isn't meant to be permanent, so I make sure that I have a matte medium where I want washi tape. I'm on a mission to use up my washi tape. I have so many washi tapes which I rarely use. I like them, they're pretty, but I have a hard time using them. Do you have kind of things where you can't really use it because you want to save it for the real thing? Just leave me down in the comments what you save. And for those who follow me since a while, I do a lot of collages. You probably have seen some videos by now. For the longest time I couldn't use up my vintage journals, magazines, not journals. So, but that has changed a little bit. I actually use them now. Now for these pieces I actually gonna tear and just randomly add them. No rhyme, no reason. And I think I even go over here. And because it is tissue paper, it's napkin, you simply add your medium to the top of the napkin. It's so thin, it's gonna go through. With the tissue paper I make sure I have already some liquid text underneath, some matte medium, fluid matte medium. And I make sure that I really work it into the creases and bumps. I'm gonna do the same thing on the back side. So here I have all my bird pictures, and I have already chosen one. I just went through my stash and I think I'm gonna go for that. That must be from a magazine. I kind of like it in here. That's the frame I'm gonna use. First I have to remove the chain, which I don't need. By the way, it's a heavy metal frame. It's made in Italy. Okay, I don't know where I have it from. Probably from a flea market or a thrift store. So that's what I'm gonna use. Now that's a rather flimsy paper, so I wanted to give a little bit more sturdiness. I'm simply gonna glue it to a scrap piece. It's probably a lightweight watercolor paper or maybe a mixed media paper. I just keep those scraps to make magazine pages or whatnot a little bit stronger. Or sometimes I use it to paint on leftover paint, and in the end I punch out circles and make stuff with that. I cut along the outside of the pencil line. I always can get in with the eraser afterwards. I just want to make sure that it is big enough. So I'm gonna cut first on the outside of the pencil line and test it. And this time I'm gonna use tacky glue to glue it in, because I have the feeling I want a little bit more in here. Do I want it like this or like this? I think I want it like this. I'm gonna put that aside to dry. So now it's time to add some color to my back and front, and I have chosen like greens and turquoise, and I also have some gold and some copper. I'm not sure what I'm gonna use. I make sure that most of the colors are transparent or semi-transparent, which this one isn't not, but it's an iridescent. So I want to see some of those collage elements. I don't want to cover up it completely, so that's why I have chosen mostly transparent colors. I have my water here and a cheap brush, nothing fancy. So I do everything with this brush when I work on those kind of projects. It's a synthetic brush with what I use. And I just apply colors, no rhyme, no reason. Now I'm going to dry that again with the heat tool and do the same thing to the back side, and then I will be back. Now for the next step I want a really dry brush, because I want to add a little bit of gold and copper. But if I can have it just on the raised areas, I need to do the dry brush technique. Also, it's not that easy with those kind of colors which are very liquid, but I'll do my best. And as any metallic, you have to shake them to make the particles even out. So that's the gold, which is a lumiere, but any metallic gold would work. And that's actually a full card copper, but I'm not attached to a certain brand. I do prefer some brands, of course, like everybody, but okay. And what I do, I get a little bit and dab a little bit off, and then I just go lightly over the areas and hopefully mostly hit the raised areas. And as you can see, I didn't cover up the white completely. I just like the way how it looks, but again, that's up to you. And if there is a point where it is a little bit too much, just grab a wet wipe and wipe off a little bit. It is a dry brush technique, which means it's dry pretty much after you have put it on, but just to make it sure, I did use it a little bit of a heat gun. Let's go. Oh, there's enough gold here, I think, with the back side. again, I let that a little bit dry, and I'm working on my frame a little bit. I don't like the color so much, depending a little bit what kind of frame you have, but I think I want to alter this frame too, and actually it would have been better if I would have done it before, so I really hope I don't hit my birdie. So again, I'm going to use first the gesso so that the paint has something to stick. Now, because I have my picture already in and I want to have this frame inside here white too, I'm going to use the Posca pen, which is acrylic based. I just want to lighten up the inside a little bit. Detail work is much easier with a pen than instead of a brush, and I really don't want to mess up my bird. I actually could zoom you in so you see what I'm doing. Hold it like that. So I just go carefully along. Now, one of the reasons why I did use this color, it matches very much the color which I have in the background of this bird here. Not completely, but pretty nice. So I think I'm gonna go with that for the frame. But I'm gonna also add a little bit of green and the gold. I'm not gonna go for the dark. I think it might be too dark. Let's see. Again, I'm going to use a very dry brush to add a little bit of gold and some copper in some areas. Yeah, I'm liking it. Now put that aside. Clean up my area, and then I will be back. Now we have two more things to do. We have to attach our bird first of all. I'm going to use a heavy gel mat. You could use, if you don't have that, you could use like modeling paste instead. That works too. You decide which side you like. It doesn't matter which side you like as your front. And I think I like this side better, yeah. And the other thing, I'm gonna do it sideways, so that the bird, by the way, if you have watched carefully, you have seen I have also the text in this direction. No, I didn't look at the book at this way, I did look at the book at this way. There's a reason for that. You're gonna figure that out when you... as I said, I used the heavy gel mat, and then the other thing, I want to give it a little bit more dimension, but I don't want to play with resin, so I'm gonna use instead the Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. There is also the glossy accent in America. If you feel like resin, go ahead. For those in Switzerland, I know there is one lady who watched the videos. It is available in Switzerland. Call me if you need to know where to find it. Just a little side thing here. So I'm gonna use, and I really recommend the heavy gel mat or then a modeling paste. And I forgot my spatula. Oh no, here it is. White on white. And I'm gonna use quite a bit because I want really this thing to stick. So first of all, I'm gonna fill in the gap. So that there is an area for it to stick to the book cover. So I did pretty much fill it, and I give it an extra, also I'm not sure if it really helps, but I give a little bit extra here. Just making sure that it doesn't show on the front side. I wouldn't like that. Now, it is more or less a one shot. Okay, that is that. I do see a little bit of gel medium here, which I want to get rid of. But other than that, it looks good for me. Now put your book on, if you have to, we have to put it aside afterwards, we have put the Mod Podge. So I like to have it on something which I can carry around, so that's, and rather not touch the book. So never shake it, just use it directly from the bottle and start spreading it. And if we are lucky, we don't have any bubbles. So far it's looking good, and helping with the needle a little bit. I did fill it up until it's slightly domed, and that's where I'm gonna leave it now. If you don't dome it right on the first time, you still can go afterwards in and add a second layer. Sometimes that's a good way too. Okay, that was pretty easy. If you have a bubble, use a needle tool and try to pull the bubble towards the edge and pull it out. So here we are with our book cover for our next altered book. I hope you enjoyed it so far. We're gonna work on this book the next few weeks. Probably I'm gonna switch up between this book and some other projects, depending on how much I can do. Sometimes life interferes with YouTube, or YouTube interferes with life, whatever you want. Anyway, I hope to see you soon again. Take care, bye.